Hello, I'm Doll Lip. I am Silhouette, who appeared on Community. Everyone was talking about the correct answer, but the motion name is Tyrant. The correct answer was the A-B attack motion of Yamazaki from Extra. It looks like he's crouching and hiding his hands in his pockets. Yamazaki is a character who needs a physical filter due to his violent movements. When you hear the signal, you have to counter the opponent's jump, dash, and approach quickly. In short, even just talking to the opponent requires an incredible amount of concentration. Even if you imagine holding 10 or 20 physical and digital cards simultaneously, this character will keep you engaged no matter how much you challenge yourself. Honestly, most of our beginners can't play well because they're too nervous. Yamazaki's skills are used as support and counter cards for their excellent performance. Characters with weak control can also approach Yamazaki thanks to this. Even if you block this with a guard, if the reach isn't long enough, it's meaningless. Especially with short jump pressure, you can easily break through the opponent's guard, so it's good to mix it up and keep your opponent guessing. Even against Suit Park, who is very skilled, you can easily break through with this as well. When moving quickly, be cautious as the hitbox may sometimes extend slightly ahead. But since this kind of situation doesn't happen often, you can just keep growing and use it as a basic skill. This is a solid basic attack that can be used safely from a distance. Among Yamazaki's basic moves, this one is unique as it has no minus frames even if the opponent guards. Maintain a 2-tile distance to effectively punish your blocked opponent. It's possible to cancel into special moves, and that's good, but the attack judgment is a bit low. It's a bit disappointing, so when Saiju tries to pressure the opponent with his normals, his pressure is weaker and his combo options are more limited compared to other close-range characters. You have to choose whether to use it or not depending on the opponent's character. Standing A has limited range but can hit close opponents, making it useful for poking. Standing B is mainly used as a long-range poke due to its longer reach. When Standing A can't cover the lower part like this, it's useful. Usually it creates just enough distance with its range. In this mid-range, there aren't many characters who can crouch and avoid it, so use Standing A. But if you use it too much or change your rhythm, you might get hit by a low-profile move. What we know well is Yori's Close B and Andy's very similar Close B. However, after blocking, it's faster to recover than Andy's B. Because of its low hitbox, it can't even connect to a crouching C cancel combo. In this way, you can also link it smoothly to moves like a target combo. You can use it to end a combo stylishly or defensively to keep your opponent in check with its knockback. You can even finish with a headbutt, and there are several ways to end the combo. When you grab the tail of Hyowa's animal and spin it around, it creates a long-range attack. This is Pultubi's World Heaven, a basic move with no super armor. Even if you try to block the movement by lowering your guard, the opponent can still break through with a counterattack, so you can't parry it. However, if the opponent is a guard or a long-range character, you can use this to your advantage and create a gap. If you don't want to get punished with a counterattack like this, just don't use it. The passive frame itself is the same as a long-range move, but the activation is much slower. Panjong is much better than you might think. However, if the opponent is a 2-hitter, you have to let the combo finish completely. The opponent's guard is weaker than long-range C, but the recovery frame is so short that it's very easy to block and punish. If you don't go for the full end distance, you have to be very careful. It can be used as a psychological tool, but not recklessly as simple pressure. It has a pretty fast startup, but if the opponent doesn't move, you can't hit them with the second motion. So, if you meet an opponent who knows this weakness, they'll dodge it right away. The backstep is effective when you use it to counter the opponent's grab attempts. When guard is unavailable, the opponent tries to use a back shuffle, but you catch their back. Even if they try to backdash, you can catch them with a long-range move. If the opponent panics and runs backward, you can simply use a basic grab. So after using the crouch back, you need to quickly move forward and pressure your opponent. Esioseo's range is shorter than the basic range, but still quite long compared to other characters. No need to worry. If you use Esioseo's crouching A right after using it, you can connect combos more reliably. Even if you use the dash light attack, the hit stun only lasts for 4 frames. Since it's a cancel motion, you can use it in combos a lot. Additionally, using Burst Chomp A or B is very effective against opponents who try to run away. Now, compared to close B, the startup is 1 frame slower, but standing B is more stable for safe attacks. It has better reach than close B, so you can use it from a bit farther away. The downside is that you can't cancel directly into other moves. If you try to use close B from too far away, it will come out as a standing normal instead, so if you want to keep the distance short, just start with standing B. But Momori's dash attack is unstable. The distance for grabbing and throwing is too short, so you have to get really close for it to work. A single grab is ineffective against 2 or 3 hit combos and can't be landed when the opponent is blocking backwards, making it hard to use properly. If you use it well, you can keep your opponent at bay, and if you don't make any mistakes, it's basically a safe move with almost no risk. Anja C's gameplay is characterized by a unique and unconventional style, driven by unusual principles. If you can't do this, you can't bring out the full potential of Anja C. If you don't cancel, using a normal hit might result in a minus frame, or getting hit by a reversal move due to frame disadvantage. If you can't cancel, it's basically just a normal attack. But if you use this together with cancel, it turns into an amazing anti-air normal, so it's not just a simple poke. Please use clear words to explain. After the cancel, Yamazaki can maintain a stance where he can move forward, so by using the snake cancel, you can increase stability and make your pressure even stronger. The opponent can also easily punish Yamazaki with a light frame. If you use this, you can maintain a distance where you can block after a counter, so you can apply tremendous pressure when the opponent is cornered. If you expect the opponent to headbutt, you can't react even if you block with a dash short pro. Being able to use this significantly boosts Yamazaki's offensive capabilities. If you just do it, the opponent is helpless, and even if they try to anticipate it, they end up getting hit. This is something you can use while keeping the opponent in check. Compared to that, the risk is not that high. If this connects all the way to the cancel, it becomes the strongest character, but it's not that easy to pull off. Big size characters are much easier to hit with this, but if you hit it too close, the move won't connect, so you have to keep some distance. This is Jump B, and you can use it effectively with Jump A. Yamazaki's basic jump moves are generally very straightforward, but among his basic jump moves, there are some that can be used in various situations. Because the attack retention frame is quite long, it doesn't lose to most things even at the bottom. The downside is that using it at a very high height during a jump can sometimes cause it to whiff in the opposite direction due to the hitbox. You should keep in mind that you need to hit it as low as possible. Hitting too low makes jumping difficult and leaves you open to guard or counterattack, even if your attack lands. You can use it as an anti-air, but it's mainly used for rushing in and jumping. When Richie is far away, you can also check with a crouching B to keep your distance. And because the attack box is wide and long, you can easily hit opponents even from a distance. However, when you use it as an anti-air attack, it has the drawback of being vulnerable to opponents approaching from a diagonal angle. It's not as powerful as a Jump A, but you should still use it strategically. As a basic move that's great for anti-air, this is Jump C. It has a strong hitbox with a wide range of motion. It's not hard to use, so if you want to beat your opponent's jump, just jump and press it. Because of the increased attack hitbox, you can counter your opponent's attack before it even comes out. But this is only useful as a reversal, so if your opponent just blocks, you can't really do anything. You can cover everything, but only at close range. It's only effective against low attacks, so you shouldn't use it in neutral situations. Even if you block all the hits because the screen is so low, you still have to be careful about the follow-up. But since the attack judgment doesn't go down, it's best to use it at a distance as a poke. It's a skill that quickly closes the distance in the mid-range, and because the range is quite large, it can be used very effectively for surprise attacks. So it's good to use the backstep to quickly get away. By blocking and pushing, you can cover a distance of about 50 or more with this skill. It's a skill more effective for defense than aggression. You can just stand still and block, but if your arms and hands are fast, young players can actually watch and catch the ball. However, if you use it in advance and your opponent reads your mind, you can get hit pretty hard. Cover the range with a defensive move, making it difficult for your opponent to approach with their short jump, not just on the ground. Listen up, but careless use may lead to punishment, so be cautious. If your opponent easily dodges your A or B attacks, you might get caught. With a short pro, it's actually impossible to get past this. It's a technology that only true masters can use. But if your opponent doesn't use it until they're really close, or if they don't use a cancel, you'll get caught from behind. Don't just use it for zoning, you can also use it as a stable combo finisher. Yamazaki pulls his arm forward. It can't cover the lower area, but it does cover the upper area. Among the upper attacks, its activation is the slowest, and although it swings downward, it doesn't have a lower hitbox. If the opponent is close and you use this, you can still connect a combo. The weak attack cancel doesn't combo due to slow activation, only the strong attack can start combos. Moraton, cancel, backstep, and upper-lower can be connected. If you use Yamazaki, you can connect all types of combos. Quickly pressing the button while moving instantly cancels the motion. Let me explain Anjachi first, and then I'll talk about the importance of combos. Use Anjachi when close to stop a dashing opponent from escaping. Avoid using it standalone, as it's punishable. Instead, combo it properly. This way, you can keep pressuring your opponent and continue your frame advantage, which makes this kind of play possible. I'll say it again, but if you can't do this, Shashikori is not a character you should play. Yamazaki has a technique where he attacks multiple times without stopping. Usually he attacks twice, but sometimes he can attack 4 times. It's a technique that doesn't easily get interrupted, even if you try to counter it. You can only cancel into combos from normal strong attacks, but since the range is very short and the frame advantage is also lacking, it's difficult to use in various ways. When your opponent guards, you can immediately throw them to break their defense. If you just use a sweep, the damage isn't that great, but can you follow up with a strong attack as a combo? For this to be effective, use it in the right situation. They say they've added a mechanic, but the actual sound effects are disappointing. If the first hit was a critical, I'd expect a crazy performance. But since the critical hit is on the second, even with the loud sound effect, you can tell it won't be that great. The advantage is that you can force your opponent to crouch. As a combo special move, it can hit but not knock down opponents. You have to remember that it only connects in the advanced combo system, but if you guard, you can just block it from behind. If you land the shot, you can crouch cleanly, but be cautious as jump B can knock you back. Even though it's not fast and the range isn't that wide, if you use it well, it can become a powerful combo technique. It only connects as a combo from a strong basic attack, but if the distance is even a little off, it won't connect when you hit the opponent's guard. So you have to stay close to your opponent. You shouldn't end it here, but you need to continue the combo all the way to the end. Using it alone from the front allows you to follow up with a basic attack after the spin kick. It probably won't work against opponents who are guarding, but it's still worth trying. In this way, you can also create situations where you hit the opponent's guard from the side. If you succeed with these, even if your rank is low, you can still pull off combos like this. The damage is quite high, but if you mess up the timing, it won't connect. This is a great combo for players who like to show off flashy moves while taunting their opponents. The performance varies depending on the enhancement. If you use it weakly, it just blocks the projectile and ends, but if you use it strongly, you can bounce the projectile back at the opponent. You can also equip accessories that collect pebbles. But in the max version, the counter is activated even if you get hit, so be careful. This is Sadmajo, another counter technology of Yamazaki. If it's not a grab or projectile, it can counter nearly any attack. Counters are mainly used for defense, so they're usually safe to use, but they're risky because some characters can punish you if you use them carelessly. And how many people are actually going to answer and help you if you ask this? In this case, there's nothing special, but if the opponent throws a projectile from a distance, you can connect it into a combo like this. This is Park Sick, the master of Yamazaki's psychological warfare. Although the movement speed is a bit slow, it's relatively easy to catch the command grabs of other characters and compare them, so the reach is quite decent. Yamazaki's bomb knowledge is a technique that creates psychological pressure on the opponent. Even though the throw is forcibly grabbed even from behind, once you start placing it in the corner, there's no escape route, so it creates tremendous pressure. It's a long throw resembling a command throw with a similar name seemingly modeled after it. Because of its range, it can prevent characters with projectiles from attacking together, so it has excellent anti-zoning capabilities. Make sure to press this firmly all the way down. Using it carelessly may result in punishment, so be careful. It also connects easily into combos after a successful anti-air attack. A neutral jump can reset with a reversal, but maintain the correct distance. To stay safe, guard or dash back. If feeling bold, try poking with a reversal when the opponent rushes in. It's not just for blocking, but it's also a tool that lets you push your opponent away. Your motion and damage vary based on the button input after grabbing. For reference, the previous version's range was quite short. There are a total of 4 motions, and as you can see, if you input from 0 to 4 times, you get this motion. Next, if you input from 5 to 8 times, you get this motion. Personally, I like it both historically and in terms of how it looks. Next is the motion that appears when you input from 9 to 12 times. I kept stacking the damage one by one, and the more button inputs there were, the stronger it got. Finally, after inputting more than 13 times, this is what comes out. The damage was the strongest with this one. But there's one thing you need to be careful about when using this technique. If you keep holding the button in the Parashi move, the Yamazaki will be cancelled. Releasing the button mid-press allows for an instant delayed catch, skipping the animation. If you want to keep the damage going until the very end, you have to keep pressing the button in the corner, not in the field. I'll try to keep this video as brief as possible by covering Omega Rugal just once. Despite his long reach, his lack of invincible moves makes him vulnerable to pressure. However, his simple attack power is on par with Shin Ryu. Of course, this is also a weakness when facing characters with projectiles and long-range attacks, so for many beginners, he's a character that's quite difficult to use. That's all. Thank you for watching until now. Thanks to your support and positive comments, I've been able to keep going. Be cautious to avoid getting sick as the seasons change.